friends, and welcome to episode 47 of the Kiss Army Nation podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Pasquale Veri.
And I am Claudius Pera. Welcome to the show, everyone.
So today we have a different take on the usual fan profile. It's more of a cross, actually, between a fan profile and a panel discussion. So, Kiss fans often discuss 70s and 80s Kiss, but what is often overlooked is the relevance and importance of the band in the Millennium era. So to discuss this, we are joined by the hosts of the Kiss Army Thinks podcast. Welcome to the show, Zander and Jeb. Welcome, guys.
Hey,
thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
So glad
for
to be here.
Us. Thank you.
So before we start the show, I just want to say that Xander, you're the person responsible for all the amazing graphics that you see here in the Kiss Army Nation podcast. You were really responsible for the look of the show. So, man, on behalf of Claudia and myself, thank you so much for everything you do for our show. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You have a great show, you guys. I'm so happy to be a part of it and happy to help in any way I can.
Thank you.
Good stuff. So we're so glad to have you guys. And, we're going to get going. But as usual, before we begin our discussion, Pasquale and I on the Kiss Army Nation podcast, we would like to congratulate you both, of a really fun, informative, and successful podcast, the Kiss Army Things. So for our audience, we strongly suggest that you go and check them out. It's the Kiss Army Things. It's totally amazing. It's easygoing, positive, and everything is cool stuff. So again, congratulations. So your show is really, really amazing.
Thank you. Same to you guys.
Much appreciated. We love the feedback.
Thank you. So let's start by talking about our host of the podcast. So you're both very young, and obviously got into Kiss late in their career. So let me ask you, what got you into the band? So we'll start with Xander.
I feel like I definitely would have to give some credit to our parents, mainly our dad. Our dad was a Kiss fan growing up, and then I think right around the time of the convention, that's when he became a diehard Kiss fan. I think, before that it was like, okay, it's, they're a great band, but all of a sudden going into the conventions and seeing all the, the traveling Kiss museum, and they had all the mannequins, and, being a part of that, I think opened up his eyes to a whole another aspect of it. And then that's what, of course, led to the reunion. And then by the time Psycho Circus came around, we were involved. But I think it definitely helps, having your parents, or in our case, our dad definitely being a fan, because when you're a kid, if you want to go to concerts and go to expos and things like that, or go to any event, unless your parents are going to take you or buy your ticket, you don't get to go.
Exactly.
So It helps that, if your parents are involved or they like it too. So Kiss was really kind of like a family thing for us. It happened very young. I was 3, he was 1. I mean, we really don't have much memories that don't include Kiss. Some of our first memories include discovering Kiss, because Dad had, Kiss CDs. We would get into his Kiss CDs and watch his Kiss tapes. And I remember seeing some things around the house. And so, yeah, Kiss has always just been a big part of our lives ever since pretty much day one.
Well, that's awesome. Great job for your dad, man. So that kudos for him. Awesome. This is great. And actually, you were so young, 3 and 1. You said, Jeb. So same thing, right? You must have seen, pictures now, and you look at yourself, and you cannot believe it that you're running a podcast now, and you were in the conventions when you were 1 year old, right?
Exactly. It's rather insane. So he covered the most, sort of the bulk of it. But to be more specific about how we got more attached to Kiss, personally, was really 2 videos that we had. One of them being the VHS tape for the Kiss Extreme Close Up around the Revenge era. And maybe we were a little too young growing up watching some of that stuff that was on there. Some of the content's rather mature.
However,
exactly. But we watched that maybe 1,000 times and sort of got really the complete history up to that point to the band. And so at a very young age, we sort of understood, the origin of the band. We knew who, Vinnie Vincent was and Eric Carr was. And yet it was still so mystical in a way, because we're young kids. And the other one was a pay-per-view that was recorded off of the television from a VHS tape. It was the One Last Kiss from New Jersey in 2000 on the That must have been the farewell tour.
Yep.
Right. And so there was a live thing that a family friend had recorded and gave us the tape afterwards. And that really, I think, clicked, for me, because it kind of put everything we knew about Kiss into context, in the context of a full live show. Just hearing all of these songs, which I loved then, I love now. It's sort of, hearing Paul's stage banter and everything really just sort of, it came to life from that point on for me. And I'm sure Xander personally.
Yeah, this was before the internet, before we had the internet, before computers, before cell phones. Nowadays, you can find anything on the internet and on Google, but those 2 tapes were the only tapes that we had.
Yeah.
We had a handful of CDs, but if we wanted to watch Kiss or be involved with Kiss, I mean, all we had was Kiss Extreme Close Up, which was really like the A&E documentary of its time.
Yeah.
And then we had the only concert we had, which was The Last Kiss.
Right.
So that's really what it was. It was always the music. It was always the show and the concert, and yeah.
So you were watching the same thing over and over again. So you didn't have anything else, right?
For years and years.
For years.
Those, yeah.
Love it.
So guys, oftentimes, on your podcast, we hear you guys talk about 70s Kiss, which with such awe and amazement. Tell us how you got to discover the legend that is Kiss, specifically 70s Kiss. Xander.
Okay. Well, I think obviously with Extreme Close Up, yeah, that definitely gave us, a good overview, I think, of the 70s Kiss. But really, I have to really give it to Kissology. That DVD series, I think, is a much more valuable resource than I ever gave it credit for.
It's incredible.
Because, being the young fans that we are, a lot of the early, the foundation of Kiss had already been laid before we were ever even, born. So to have, hours and footage and to have those discs was really just, monumental, because if it wasn't for that, we would have to go and find, somebody else's tapes, or we would have to, I guess you could go on the internet at this point in time. But I really have to give it over to Kissology, because when we were watching Kissology, watching Dick Clark, watching Paul Lynde, we knew it was special. We had heard about Kiss Meets the Phantom, but we never got to see Kiss Meets the Phantom. So having that DVD, having Kissology, for us, we were able to watch it. I think Kissology Volume 3 ends where we pretty much began. I think the third one ends with that pay-per-view, The Last Kiss. So having Kissology for us is like, hey, here's what you missed all these years. Here's the 70s, the 80s. I think with Kissology, I really, not just 70s Kiss, but watching the show, the costumes, the set list change, all of that, it gave me a much more appreciation for live Kiss. Everything before that was really just like textbook knowledge. You study it, you memorize it, almost like notebooks. But being able to see Kissology, being able to see the disc, watch those shows, that was awesome. I still go back and watch Kissology to this day.
Yeah.
And Jeb, what about you?
Yeah, so more of the same. However, another side of it is we were sort of fascinated by vinyl records, because that ties into the whole sort of mystique and awe of the 70s. So our first Kiss Expo we went to was in 2009, and that's when I bought my first Kiss album, or it was my first album period. Now I collect vinyl.
Tell them what it was. What was it?
It was a promo copy of Dynasty from '79, and so I believe your first album may have been Love Gun.
A beat up copy of Love Gun, yeah.
Yes, and so that really was kind of eye opening, because obviously records weren't even that, like they're coming back now.
This is before the big vinyl surge of 2013. This is 09.
Right.
But we just saw them and were absolutely fascinated by it, and so that also I feel like ties into our relation to the 70s. And it took us a while before we could actually get a turntable. I don't know where we got one.
Our grandma got one for us, a garage sale.
Yeah, garage sale turntable, and so that we actually eventually got to listen to the records.
Yeah, for a while it was just we were just collecting to collect them. It was almost like looking at an ancient scroll or something so close, something so close to being lost to time that felt like fragile. I had to protect it.
Yeah, exactly. So the records definitely helped.
Hey, let me, guys. I just want to, before getting into the next question, I wanna point out on something that Pask was mentioning about the 70s. So you said before that your dad basically get you going into the band and stuff. Was he a particular fan of the 70s lineup or any specific lineup?
So he was born in 71. So when Kiss came out in 73, he was still really young. It actually terrified him. He was one of the kids that was a little too young for it at the time. Nowadays, it's pretty, whatever stuff. But for him, it wasn't until the later 70s, around Double Platinum, around Dynasty, when
Okay, Dynasty.
he was a little bit older towards the end of the 70s. But
Okay.
by the time he was a consumer of music, we'll say a teenager, he was in high school. It was the 80s. Kiss was a much different band. So he still liked Kiss. He still listened to Heaven's on Fire, Lick It Up, Tears Are Falling, Crazy Nights. But it wasn't until Revenge, when they did Revenge, that kind of got his attention, the heavier route, and then going to the convention and stuff. So yeah, he was a fan as a child and a teenager, but it wasn't until the conventions in the 90s when he really became. He was our age when he was going to the conventions, going to see Kiss on the reunion tour and Psycho Circus tour. He and my mom, when they got married, as soon as they got married, they went and saw Kiss on the reunion tour. Fast forward all these years later, my wife and I, we go to shows now. Jeb and I go to shows. So I would say about the 90s is when he became a diehard fan.
Really cool. Really cool. Hey, of course, in the podcast, we always talk about, collecting and, the obvious question, do you guys collect? And if so, which I think the answer is yes, what do you collect? And what is your most prized item? Xander?
So I've been collecting for about 15 years, since I was in 7th grade, mostly from the Kiss catalogs at first, and then, of course, going to the expos and things like that. Pretty much now with the pandemic, it's online shopping mostly. But yeah, I do collect. I still actively collect. Mostly, I have stuff from pretty much almost every era, but I mean, obviously, I do collect mostly from my era, my generation. Kiss Coffee House stuff. One of the things, I don't know why, I'm obsessed with is the Kiss Him, Kiss Her cosmetic line they did. The
really?
Cologne that they did with Gemini Cosmetics back in 06. I don't know why.
Okay.
When we were kids, they came out with it. I said, this is stupid. I was like, you guys, what? Bar of soap? It's dumb. And he was like, I don't know, I might get it. I was like, really? I was like, you're going to waste your money? And he goes, yeah. So of course, fast forward all these years later, I'm the one that has the weird obsession with it. And my wife loves it too. I buy it for myself to collect, but I buy it for her because she loves to use it as well.
Nice. Awesome.
They're not easy to find though. They're expensive now.
Yeah, they are.
It's harder to find, and it's expensive. Plus, when you're, I'm the one collecting for myself, and I'm also the one collecting to use the products. I'm kind of double dipping in a way. I'm my own enemy there. But as far as my most prized possession, I would say that's probably my stage played autograph Eric Singer drumhead from the show we saw August 9th, 2010 on the Hottest Show on Earth tour. That was the second Kiss show we ever saw. One of the last with our dad. Our dad passed about 10 years ago. Okay. But anybody who has a stage played, drumhead or a guitar pick that the band, flicked at them, or a stage worn piece of costume or anything like that, smashed guitar, those things are always really special because they're battle worn. They've seen battle. Right. Of course, Eric Singer is my favorite drummer. He's had a huge influence on me. So being, of course, that we saw that show, we were there. I didn't even know they were selling it. I bought it from Kiss Army Warehouse. If you've seen Kiss between 2009 and 2011, go on kissarmywarehouse.com because they still have some of these drum heads up. I ended up going there years later after the show, and I was like, wait, they're selling? How do they get these drum heads? And so I went ahead and bought it. I even got one from Rock Am Ring, but yeah, I would say the stage played Eric Singer drum head is definitely my prized possession.
Wow, cool stuff. Jeb?
Yeah, actually, I don't collect, at least I don't anymore. I used to collect when I was younger, and everything that I did have is now in Xander's room. The Sonic Boom Gold album there that I actually got autographed by Eric and Tommy, that used to be mine, but later sold pretty much that and everything else to Xander. Although I do, I have some sentimental things, like something I'll never get rid of is all of the our expo passes from the Indianapolis Kiss Expo. I have all of them. Some of them are signed. Those I'll always keep. Although if I had to choose one thing that I do have that I have kept, since I'm into vinyl records, I do have a first pressing of the Revenge autographed by Eric and
nice.
Bruce.
And Bruce.
I got to have them sign that in person, and so that's my favorite Kiss album. That's my favorite hard rock album of all time. And so I'm a huge Bruce Kulick fan, as well. So that means a lot to me, and that's something that I'll always have.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. So you must have loved our latest episode when we
Oh,
were
of
talking
course.
about revenge.
All
You know,
about
that was cool.
Revenge,
Huh?
yes, discussion panel.
That's my favorite
Wasn't
album.
that
Yeah.
cool? That's good. No, I
Absolutely.
was wondering, you know, talking about collecting, I was wondering if you, Jeb, was if you were going through an era like Pasquale is going, you know, collector's fatigue. You
Oh
know,
boy.
the guy he's not buying anymore.
Wow.
Yeah,
If you
so
believe
Pasquale used
that.
to collect in the 70s, and then he sold his collection, and then years later said, "No, I want to collect again." So now he collects
Well,
again. So he went through like a bridge period.
I've done that with vinyl, definitely. About a year ago, I had, a decent sized vinyl collection, and then I moved. I'm trying to downsize, and then I ended up buying a couple of them back. But none of the big ones like that one that I'll never get rid of.
Okay.
So I got to ask you guys, from the very beginning of your podcast, I see you drinking the Gene Simmons Moneybag soda.
Yes.
How many you drink those in every episode? How many do you have?
So
we're big fans of the Moneybag sodas.
So for years, I always said that they should do Kiss soda. I have Kiss barbecue sauce in my collection. I have Kiss ketchup. I have Kiss, this, that. Why is there nothing like I can drink? And so when they did the Kiss Cola, we rushed out to Rocket Fizz to get them. But it was more of a novelty thing. You buy it, you collect them all, put them on your shelf. Okay, great. When Gene Simmons did the Moneybag, I was like, now this I can drink on. And so we would usually just order it from the website. You can get it shipped to your house, but a Rocket Fizz just opened up about 40 minutes away. So I just drive on a Friday night, get a bunch, and come home and just drink them all weekend.
Nice.
I thought that you were filling it up, filling up the bottles, and whoever knows with what, So.
Well, we're trying to get sponsored, and it hasn't worked yet, but we're working on it.
There you go.
And I have every bottle cap that we have. I keep in one of my 7-Eleven Kiss Big Gulp cups. So every bottle cap, I save the caps back. I don't know why, but I'm just like that.
It became a tradition after the first episode. We said, you know what? Every episode we're just going to drink a money bag, and it's going to be our theme.
That's a ritual. That's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's delicious.
It is. I've tried it.
Very good.
So let's talk a little bit about some of your more memorable Kiss experiences, such as, concerts, expos, meeting the band. We'll start with Jeb this time.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, there's so many I could choose from. One that jumps out to my mind first would be Xander and I's experience at the 2013 Indie Kiss Expo where we met Gene. But less so about actually meeting Gene and more of the overall experience that we had. That was the first year that we went to an expo without an adult chaperone supervision sort of thing. It was just Xander, myself, and our good friend Derek. We were all still in high school at that point. I was a freshman, I think.
We were seniors.
And then you and our friend they were seniors in high school. And so, right after school, we all, booked it to Indianapolis to get our hotel and didn't really have any money for food, but we somehow walked away with a bunch of Kiss merchandise from the expo. But it really just, it really felt special to us, being our own Kiss fans. Like, this is our adventure. We're just going to go spend the weekend and have, a big, Kiss event. And of course, meeting Gene was amazing and emotional. And although I was really nervous and kind of embarrassed myself in front of him, he told me he said, he could see that I was nervous and said, stand up straight and look me in the eyes or something like that.
Oh, wow.
I was so nervous because, he's Gene Simmons. But so that's certainly one. And another one I have is we took our two younger siblings to a Kiss show on the End of the Road tour. They're also, kind of Kiss fans by proxy. We've got them into the band. We've got them plenty of albums on their own. And we always told them that we would take them to a concert. And then just year after year, couldn't find the right time. And so finally on the End of the Road tour, we were able to get our two younger siblings out and enjoy that as a family, and got to witness them at their first Kiss concert when we thought it was going to be our last, but we've seen them once or twice since then.
That must have been so cool, to be with oh man, what a special moment, eh?
Yeah, and we talked about it on our show before. One good thing about being a Kiss fan is that if you get your buddy into it or something like that, you get to watch them formulate their own experiences, and watching that is just, it really is a special moment. So, yeah.
Xander?
I will actually piggyback off the Gene Simmons Expo because, yeah, you're right. Obviously, the big thing was, meeting Gene. We never thought that we would be able to meet Gene. Sometimes things like that just seem like they're never, it's too far out there to happen.
Yeah.
So, of course, yeah, meeting Gene was great. But one thing about the Gene Simmons Expo that I thought was really funny, and I think all KISS fans can relate to this in some way. When we got to the expo and we got checked in and everything, I must have forgot something in my car because I was like, oh, hang on, I'll be right back. I forgot something. And so I went out to my car, and when I was coming back in, I saw this guy standing on the corner. He was smoking a cigarette. And I mean, if you could hand sketch what an ideal KISS fan looks like, he was standing there probably in his 40s, 50s, long hair, jean jacket, and an Eric Carr t-shirt on. I'm like, now this guy, he's got some stories to tell. He's got some stories. So I went and talked to this guy, and I don't know how long it was. Must have been like an hour or something because Jeb and Derek, they came running out of the hotel, like looking for me. And I'm like, Alex, where'd you go? Where you been? I'm like, dude, calm down. I'm right here. You said you were going to be gone for like 5 minutes. You've been gone for like an hour. I'm like, oh, I'm just talking to my friend here. And so now it's the four of us. We're standing there chatting and talking about KISS and, all the shows we've seen. Of course, meeting Gene being the big thing. We're all really excited. And I don't know how much time passed, but all of a sudden this car pulls up and two people get out. They're wearing KISS shirts on. They've got their bags, and they're like, hey, we must be in the right place. This must be the expo. We're like, yeah, come on in. So now it's the six of us. We're this big, giant group just sitting out in front of the hotel talking about KISS. And then now it's dark out, and we're like, okay, stop. We got to go. We got to go inside. Nobody has gotten anything accomplished. Nobody's, these folks haven't even checked in yet. They showed up and they started talking to us. So it's funny how KISS fans, once you get together, you get to talking and, it's just, you start sharing your stories and experiences and the albums that you like, and you start just, becoming instant friends. I don't even know these people's names. We didn't even exchange names. It was just, we're all friends. So sometimes it's just, the fans are a big part of it. And then one experience I think that was really special was on this End of the Road tour when we saw them in Indianapolis. It was our 10th show overall. And the venue that we were seeing them at was the same venue that we saw them the first. It was going to be our last show. We went into it thinking, look, this is going to be our last show. This is the same venue where we saw them the first time. It's number 10. We're going to round it out. We're going to make it real special. Usually when we go to shows, like you said, we bring our siblings, we bring my wife, we bring friends, we bring a whole family. We bring like a crew of like 10 people. We don't care.
It's an event. It's a big event, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but this one time only, it was just Jeb and I. We went by ourselves. It was just us. It was the best concert experience ever. After the show, usually when after a show, you're ready to leave. You're ready to get out, book it, hit the highway and try and beat traffic. We just sat there and just took it all in and was like, look, this is the last time we're going to be at a KISS show. We've done this almost our whole lives. And it feels weird to, that we're not going to be going to shows anymore. So we just sat there, took it all. They had to kick us out. You see in TV shows, the guy with the broom comes through. Hey, you guys got to go. That was us.
Wow.
We went and sat in the lawn after that and was just watching everybody laugh and smile. And there was somebody on all fours who was puking. They were so drunk, they couldn't get up. It was hilarious. We were laughing.
We did get some guitar picks from the show. We went up to the front of the stage, and one of the stage hands threw a giant wad of picks out, and we got that made it even more special. We had something to walk away with.
I had my pockets lined with confetti. That was a really good show. And of course, we were thinking, this is going to be our last show. And then we saw, I think, 2 or 3 more after that. So so much for the last show.
Yeah, right.
We have one more to go, Dayton.
Nice.
Hey, guys, as Paz was saying at the beginning, so we decided to kind of split the show in 2 parts, the fan profile portion and then a discussion panel. This is going to be the last question for the fan profile part of it. So tell us about your podcast, KISS Army Things. So Xander, why did you decide to do a KISS podcast?
Oh, okay. Well, I think it was more of like a natural evolution of things. KISS Army Things has been on Facebook since I think 2013. We've been on Facebook, just posting KISS memes, back then KISS Vines, KISS internet content. And then I think it was around 2015 where we wanted to do a channel. We decided we wanted to do a channel back then and, create KISS content that would entertain KISS fans on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was still in college, graduating college. He was still in high school. When you're working full time or working part time, going to school full time, it's hard to make that kind of stuff happen. So it wasn't until last year when we decided, hey, let's do a KISS podcast. We finally are able to do. We have more stable schedules. We're able to do it, and then I think also just because of the pandemic,
Okay.
KISS fans we're all very social people. We love going to concerts and expos, and I've been to KISS themed birthday parties. I don't know if Pasquale, you've had plenty of KISS events you've put on in the past.
Yeah.
So there's always, KISS fans are always doing it. There's KISS cruises, there's all kinds of ways for KISS fans to get involved. But when the pandemic hit, it just shut everything down, all that stuff down. So I think the podcast was our way to, celebrate KISS, of course, on the End of the Road tour, but also just to engage and talk with other KISS fans and have discussions with them and get their comments. I mean, this right here is pretty much why we're doing it. We're on your podcast, talking about our podcast, and it's KISS fans getting together. It's KISS fans having a good time, talking about our favorite band and why it means so much to us, and just having a good time. So that's all it is for us, is just celebrating KISS.
Same here. So, and Jeb, tell us about the format of the podcast and why you decided to use such a format.
Sure. Yeah. So, of course, that was something that we had a long discussion of how we were going to do it, and we sort of both were on the same page as far as we really didn't want to go the Zoom route or the like how we're doing it now if we didn't have to. And so we figured, well, we don't really live too far away. I can make the drive every weekend, every other weekend, and if we could do it in person, that would be better, hopefully visually, as well as have a more organic conversation. We can see each other, we can hear each other, we can respond more naturally, and so it just seemed to make sense with what we had.
And we're family.
And I was gonna say, and we're family. We're comfortable being in the same space with each other. That's it. Just sort of a natural thing. And if I could sort of go off of what he was saying about why we did the podcast, I think we should have done it sooner, because
I agree.
I think we actually first got the idea back when Three Sides of the Coin started theirs. Because I remember Xander showing me and said, hey, these guys are online talking about KISS. And I was like, well, we could do that, because that's what we did anyway.
That's right.
Basically, throughout our whole lives, have been having sit down, long form conversations, like serious conversations about KISS when no one was listening, just because it was interesting and we didn't really have anyone else to talk about it with. So I really wish we had started sooner, but still couldn't be a better time to start it now. And I'm proud of what we've done so far.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you should be, because actually it's very special, and the format that you guys are using is so unique, and it makes it so much more dynamic than the lot of stuff that it's out there. With all respect to all of the podcasts, everybody tries to bring a different vibe, and I think that yours works perfectly. So I was thinking, when you guys started this off and you had this vision, what were you thinking? So where would you guys like this podcast to go? So how far? So what's coming?
That's a good question. We usually just take it one episode at a time. I'm not really sure that we have a long-term goal in place other than just celebrating KISS. But one thing that I would expect to see from the podcast, given the fact that we are younger than the average KISS fan, is that I think that even though our podcast is very much accessible to most KISS fans, we don't really cater to one particular area. We don't really focus or hone in on one aspect about the band, whether it's the music or the merch or what. It's very all-encompassing celebration of KISS, all eras. But because we are younger, I would expect to see some fans in their teens or their 20s who are also watching. And I think that'd be great, because you don't really hear from a lot of the younger fans. And I know that we seem young. I mean, I'm closer to 30 than anything. So when I think of young KISS fans, I think of, the 8-year-old kid down the street, or even our sisters who are, just graduated high school. So, we're the present, but they're the future. Obviously KISS as a live act has been keeping themselves going, keeping themselves relevant. But once the band is, not touring as much, it's going to be up to the fans like us and all of us here to do our podcast, to have our KISS events, and, to keep the KISS spirit alive. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw, some people in their 20s who are starting to jump in on the conversation as well.
Cool. Good stuff. Jeb, what about you?
Yeah, more of the same. I think what I hope to do is to reach out to more people and do more content like this, more collaborative videos like this, because that's really what it's all about. And so I think if we can connect to people, hopefully maybe some more younger fans, and as I'd like to get some other guests on too. Like if I could get Bruce Kulick on, that would like blow my mind, because I
Mhm,
know he does a lot of podcasts, and he's all over YouTube, which is really cool.
mhm, mhm.
So as far as any goals, I want to get really just in touch with more people, just more Kiss fans, have more conversations like this, and I think that would be enough for me. Yeah,
And have fun. Keep having fun. That's what
exactly.
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
That's what matters. Okay, so let's get into the discussion panel part of the episode now. So this is going to be interesting because we're going to be looking at each of the topics from the point of view of two different generations here, the young and the older.
What do you mean, man? We're at the old here?
Yeah, you're not old. Don't say old.
More experienced.
More experienced, more
Exactly,
seasoned, more seasoned.
The
So-
veterans.
Exactly. So, so let's begin with the first topic, the first question, the obvious question. Millennium's Kiss is made up of Paul, Gene, Tommy, and Eric, and we often hear that the present Kiss, as it stands now, is a tribute band. Do you consider Kiss to be nothing more than a tribute band today, Xander?
Well, of course, I'm going to say no, because I don't think that. Although I do try to sympathize with people and their opinions, even if if they differ from mine, I try to see it from their perspective, and I can totally see why somebody might feel that this Kiss is a tribute band. Although I think it was more of an argument back in the early days of the current Kiss. 04, 05, 06, they weren't doing any new music. They weren't putting out albums, and the costumes were old costumes. It was a rehashed stage. So certainly in those early stages of the current era, I could see where somebody who has been a fan, since the beginning, or even, just for decades, who saw it and goes, this looks like a tribute band. I could totally see that. Although I feel like at this point, those are just leftover emotions, because really Sonic Boom, I think, changed all of that. Finally, they were doing, because before that, they were just getting their footing, and they were getting their ground, testing the waters. Does anybody still want to see Kiss? Will this Kiss even work? And so let's not do anything too crazy yet. And then finally, after the Alive 35 tour, they were able to go into the studio. They recorded new music, a new album with new songs. They have new outfits. It was a new stage show. Everything was new. They did it again with Monster, which I thought was a lot better, a lot more gritty, a lot more heavier, a lot more raw. Love the outfits for that. The stage show was phenomenal. We have Kiss Rocks Vegas. So finally, they were able to get into the groove and do more. And I would have liked to have seen more as far as studio recordings from the current Kiss. But as it stands, I don't think it's going to happen. But I don't think that this current Kiss is a tribute band. I think that they did come into their own.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I can answer. I think a little bit shorter. They're not a tribute band, and anyone who says that they are doesn't know what a tribute band is. That's my short of it. But I really say that because from day one, it was Gene and Paul's band, like pretty much, period, and more so Paul Stanley, than anyone, I think. But I mean, do I really even need to talk about Tommy and Eric proving themselves? Year after year after, being the most reliable, members of the band. I don't really need to defend them. Everyone knows Tommy and Eric have definitely proven themselves in Kiss. But at the end of the day, it's Gene and Paul's band. It always has been. It always will be. And as far as the tribute band thing goes, I as Xander said, I might be able to sympathize with others who disapprove of it, but the fact that they don't like that Peter and Ace aren't in the band, or that their preferred lineup isn't in the band, that doesn't make it a tribute band. That's just not what a tribute band is. Right. And so that's pretty much it.
I think Kiss 2.0 will be the official Kiss tribute. If they do decide to, that will be the officially sanctioned Kiss tribute band. I don't know how they'll feel about the other tribute bands. As of right now, they're pretty okay with seeing tribute bands. They almost see it as like a flattery thing. How awesome are these people, our fans, getting up on stage, playing our songs and doing our show. It's great for people who don't get to see us. But I kind of wonder how they'll feel about Kiss tribute bands once and if Kiss 2.0 does happen. We'll see.
That's a good question. Yeah, big time.
And Claudio, as a seasoned fan yourself, how do you feel about this?
No, definitely not. No, it's no, Kiss today is not a tribute band. And the thing about this is that we often refer to a tribute band as if it is something that is not good. And I think that tribute bands, they're awesome. They put a lot of work. They have their own personality and everything. They celebrate the band, but I'm pretty much with Jeb. So as long as we have Paul and Gene there, to me it's Kiss. And for people who say that this is a tribute band, then when we had Eric Carr, Vinnie Vincent, of course not with the same makeup, but you could also say that it was a tribute band because Peter and Ace were not there. But nothing wrong with at all. I think that Eric and Tommy, they did a fantastic job, professional, and we're having Kiss even today. I couldn't say thanks to them, but a big contribution. I'm pretty much with Paul saying that if maybe Peter and Ace were there today, maybe we couldn't have any Kiss. So no tribute band at all, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why fans think it's a tribute band, because it all started when Tommy and Eric put on the Ace and Peter makeup, or the Spaceman and Catman makeup. They saw it as a copy, and isn't that what a tribute band is, right? It's a copy of the actual band. Now I'm with Jeb on this one. For me, anyway, Kiss has always been Paul and Gene. It really has. And for me, like, Paul is my idol. Without Paul, for me, even without Gene, but without Paul, there is no Kiss. But to say that it's a copy is completely wrong, because Claudio, you made a good point. What about when Eric and Vinny came into the band? Were they considered a tribute band? No, because we were wearing different makeup. They were still continuing forward as a band.
Yeah.
And when Eric and Tommy put on the makeup, people thought the band stopped moving forward. It's now a carbon copy of what it used to be. And I believe that the band is continuing to move forward to this day. And this might not be a popular opinion, but I'm sorry, when I saw Kiss, and was it 2004, the Rotten Nation, I'd never heard that band so tight in my life. I go, wow, they sound amazing. And they've been tight ever since. And this is the band I've always wanted to hear musically. And it's because of Tommy and Eric. And like you guys said before, they bring a stability to the band. The band has not stopped moving forward. And that is a tribute to Eric and Tommy. Definitely not a tribute band. This is Kiss.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well said.
And let me just add a couple of things here. It's I think maybe for people, again, with all respect, that they're saying that this is a tribute band. Maybe if Kiss would have released more music with this lineup, that could have been different. So we couldn't be talking about the tribute band, because the band could have kind of shaped its own personality based on music. The fact that they the set list the last I could say maybe 5 or more years hasn't changed much. That's what fans are saying. That's why they're saying that it's maybe a tribute band. Again, whether you like it or not, Sonic Boom or Monster, I'm pretty sure that I could have loved for the band to come up with new music. That would have helped so much to kind of not even talk about tribute bands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Could I add something real quick? I don't want to drag us out too long, but I was thinking just a second ago about how how we view Kiss as a tribute band, and if I were to try and help some fans think about it, we need to think about it logically, because when this stuff happened on the farewell tour, when halfway after the U.S. leg, when there was a vacancy, they didn't choose to renew Peter's contract. They brought Eric Singer back, and there was no reason to create a new makeup and a new character and get a new costume put together. Why introduce a new character on the last tour? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Even when Tommy came into the band, they were traveling with a 5th costume fitted for Tommy in the event that Ace didn't show up. And guess what? It happened. So shows in 30 minutes. Okay, Tommy, let's get you a new outfit and a new makeup and a new character. No, it makes no sense. People want Kiss. Give them Kiss. And
Yeah.
Kiss, whether you like it or not, has always been the Demon, the Star Child, the Catman, the Spaceman.
Yeah.
That's what people will know them. Who's underneath it doesn't matter. It's the makeup, and it's those characters. It's more about the brand than anything. I think that if they tried to get new characters, some new wacky zany character, it would be not as revered and not as loved and beloved as the four characters that we know Kiss to be.
I will say also, not to drag this out even further,
No worries.
but 'cause I could defend Tommy and Eric, in the current Kiss all day, because that's my Kiss. But the people who argue that they're a tribute band, they might have more weight to their argument if Eric played like Peter, which he doesn't at all. Tommy doesn't sound like Ace. Tommy's tone is different. He doesn't use Marshall amps. He uses a different amp. His vibrato is totally different.
The way he plays is different. I've always said that if Eric and Tommy are trying to be carbon copies of Peter and Ace, they're doing a bad job.
Yeah, I mean, I think Eric's doing an Eric Singer interpretation of Kiss music, and Tommy, of course, Eric has a little more room to do that, and Tommy is largely doing the same, and he does it so well at making it not, he doesn't play like Ace, even if he's playing Ace written solos, and that I respect. He puts his own spin on it. Both of them do.
But Tommy can play Bruce songs too, and he can play, he can play anything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time. Guys, we talked about this before, but 70s Kiss, has had, some pretty monumental milestone moments in history, right? So do you think that Millennium Kiss have those milestone moments comparable to 70s Kiss? Xander?
I'm going to go ahead and say no. I'm going to say no because you really can't. Once in the 70s, once Kiss had their first, gold album or their first platinum album or the first sold out show, the first sold out tour, after that, nobody cares. Kiss has had plenty of gold albums, more than any other American band ever. They've had plenty of platinum albums. They've sold out plenty of shows. Once you do it once, that's it. So the stuff that happened in the 70s happened in the 70s, and it's been so long that it's almost like lore now. It's almost, Kiss could do something great today. I mean, the Dubai show, I know the merchandise thing has been the talk more than anything, but like when they do stuff like the Dubai show, it's like it was a huge monumental event that we watched one night and then almost forgot about the next night. The A&E documentary, once we did that, we all did our podcast and then we moved on to the next thing. We always just kind of jump to the next thing, whereas the 70s stuff is always revered and always talked about. I think the milestones or accomplishments that we've seen because of today's Kiss, Millennium Kiss, as we're calling it, would be, the 40th anniversary tour, soon to be 50th. Kiss would have been long gone by now, like 2 decades old, if the farewell tour had ended when it was supposed to have. There would have been no room for the milestone of the 40th anniversary, soon to be 50th anniversary.
Exactly.
I think the biggest milestone, the biggest accomplishment that this current Kiss has accomplished is being the most consistent Kiss. The fact that, I can't imagine you guys being fans in 1980 when they're doing Unmasked, and then all of a sudden they do The Elder in 81, which is, completely different. And then they do Creatures of the Night in 82, and then 83, the makeup's off. It's, all this stuff is happening. So, we've known nothing but love, joy, and peace the last 20 years because it's not so much drama. Kiss to me isn't drama. Yeah, it's rock and roll, and there's going to be drama with rock and roll, but at the end of the day, rock and roll is a celebration, and Kiss has always been about celebrating and being victorious. And so I think we really get that with this current lineup.
Well said. Jeb?
I would say it's, again, it's pretty much impossible to recapture that glory from the 70s. But I'm also going to answer yes in a more abstract way. The fact that the band is still garnering the attention that they are now, and the fact that they're still, drawing the crowds at their shows and still doing this almost 50 years later is in itself a monumental achievement, considering when they first started, no one thought they were going anywhere. I'm thinking, well, no, they're technically not as big as they were, in the 70s. They're not selling out Madison Square Garden 3 nights in a row, anything like that. But the fact that they've been around for almost 50 years, and they're drawing bigger crowds than Judas Priest and,
Yep.
Alice Cooper. They're playing considerably larger venues. I mean, they're playing amphitheaters of,
20,000 people.
let's say up to like 20, 25,000 seats. And like for a band
Yeah.
that's been around that long, that in itself is
Pretty awesome.
it's a monumental achievement. So,
Well, even in the 70s, they were not playing extremely big venues, right? So we got to be careful with that too, huh?
oh, for sure. Yeah.
Pask?
I don't know. I think it depends how you define a milestone. And is it an achievement, or is it really a wow moment in history? Now, obviously, in the early 70s, there were so many wow moments in history because everything they did was new, was unexpected, was shocking. And even now, almost 50 years later, I still believe there's a lot of milestones in history because they still manage to wow the fans. They still manage to surprise us. They did it in 96. Let's shock the people. And they've been shocking the people ever since. I love the symphonies. That wow, that was really cool. I love Dubai. Wow, that was so cool. And now, even with the merchandising, the release of the Destroyer box set, my God,
Wow.
that was incredible. And now you also have the fans that are creating Kiss-related events. The Creatures Fest, the Cruise Fest. Wow, these events are just amazing. It's still an amazing time to be a Kiss fan because these wow moments still exist.
Yep.
And is there still milestones? Oh yeah, in my opinion, absolutely. Claudia,
Well said.
thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree with that. It's as Jeb was saying, it's pretty tough, man. 50 years, you cannot have memorable moments all the time. For any band, not only Kiss. Kiss is so special because they're so visual. They expose themselves so much that everybody's looking at what they do. But if you look at, take a look at Rolling Stones, all of the bands. Those guys, they tour maybe every 5, 6, 7 years. Nobody says anything, So Kiss is trying to be active all the time. And sometimes they make mistakes, Sometimes they do stuff that maybe, not all the fans like. But, they always did that. Even in the 70s, they were trying things. Some things worked, some didn't. Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park, whatever. So we're still criticizing that, but now it became a cult, movie. So again, as Paz was saying before, Dubai, the Kiss Cruise, Symphony. To me, those are memorable moments. And and we also have to take into account that in 70s, no internet, so nobody knew anything. Everything was surprising. Yeah. Now, anything that can happen in a minute, everybody's twittering, so that before even watching the stuff. Of course, the mystique and all those milestone memorable moments were built upon the mystique of Kiss because nobody knew what they were looking at, the release of the album and all the stuff. In 2022, that's very hard to achieve, you cannot get to the same level.
Yep.
So I have a two-part question for you guys. So it kind of jumps off this question. So the 96 reunion tried to recapture the magic of 70s Kiss. So A, did it manage to do that? And B, do you think that today's Kiss continues to capture that magic? Xander?
Well, I wasn't there for any of the shows in 96. I have seen a lot of footage, of course, but from what I've heard from fans that were there, and I know our parents were there, the answer seems to be yes, that, that was the whole goal of the reunion tour in 96. In 96, Kiss, after 96, the band no longer relied on anything really new to keep them going. Mm-hmm. For so many years, it was like, trend chasing, and, they would reinvent their look and their sound and, do this one time and this the next album. And then in 96, it was like, look, let's just go back and do what we did before and, recapture that. And yeah, I mean, I think that was the goal, and, it certainly did that. When that fell apart, the original lineup, now you have the current Kiss, which I think has the challenge of juggling and balancing being the Kiss that people know and love, but also trying to move forward and, try new things like the Monster Tour, the stage show, or Dubai, or Kiss Rocks Vegas, or anything like that. So I don't know that. So to answer, definitely the '96 reunion captured the magic, I think, and then built upon that. But I don't know that Millennium Kiss captures necessarily the spirit of '70s Kiss. I think it's almost it's different thing. Of course, the stage shows they do now blow those out of the water, but that's because of technology, and things like that. So I think, and the set list that they're doing right now, I think, is one of the best they've done in a while. It's very well-rounded, all-encompassing of the many eras of Kiss. So I feel like, rather than saying Millennium Kiss captures the spirit of '70s Kiss, I think Millennium Kiss captures the spirit of all Kiss, regardless of the era.
Jeb, what about you?
Let's say '96 definitely seemed to have recaptured that magic. I think mostly because of the shock. It's sort of people were, so surprised and happy that the originals got back together that you almost had no choice but to love it. And so again, I'm even younger than Xander, so I wasn't there either. But looking back and hearing everyone's stories, it seems like they absolutely, made that connection with the fans. And so as far as the current lineup and recapturing the, what's the question exactly? Just so
the Millennium Kiss, does Millennium Kiss capture the spirit of '70s Kiss?
Okay. So does it capture the spirit of it? I would say absolutely, actually. Because when you go see a Kiss show, as we have, we've seen the modern Kiss many times, you are getting a full Kiss show. There's nothing, as you mentioned, they kind of, maybe blow the other ones out of the water. I mean, when you go, you're getting the blood spitting, you're getting the fire breathing, you're getting Paul Stanley's, stage banter, you're getting,
and flying.
You're really getting everything and more with the current lineup. And so I think it absolutely captures the magic of the '70s. Now, I wasn't there in the '70s, so I'm saying that this is what I imagine it would be. I think they do it well, especially when they have some of the the vintage footage on the screens. You're kind of getting a history lesson as you're watching. And so does it capture it? I think it does. I think it captures it, and I think it exceeds past that for me personally.
I think it's cool because I think today it's your '70s Kiss today.
Yeah, essentially. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. So Claudio, having been there in the '70s, how do you feel?
The '96 definitely, I think it reconnected, fans to the '70s Kiss. What they did was phenomenal. And, seeing the four guys together again was something really, really unique. And I think they were on fire. They were getting along, pretty well. And then things, went south really, really fast, in the 2000 and stuff with Psycho Circus but definitely '96, yes. Did Millennium's Kiss capture the '70s magic? Well, that's pretty hard. If you ask me right away, I could say no, but still, Kiss is Kiss. So no other band, when you go to see a show, is Kiss, and I remember, I've seen Kiss, I don't know how many times, but, I'm before going to the show, I'm like, okay, yeah, same old thing, blah, blah, blah. And when I leave the show, when I leave the venue, I'm saying this is the best show I've seen in my life, even today. So, and I'm happy and I'm smiling, and I was entertained for 2 hours. And I've been able to go with my wife, with my daughter, with my son, and sharing those moments. To me, it doesn't matter if it's '70s Kiss or whatever. It's Kiss. To me, that's Kiss.
Oh man, I remember in '79 when I saw the Dynasty show here in Montreal, and Kiss came out from the floor. I mean, I almost lost my mind as a 10-year-old kid. It's like, oh my God, that's Kiss on stage. It's magical. So, oh my God, yes. And yeah, was the magic there in the '70s? I was there. I experienced it. Absolutely. But you know what? It was downhill from there, because after that, nothing could compare to that show that I saw. And, I kind of lost interest in Kiss in the '80s. And then I saw them again on the Hot in the Shade tour.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget when Leon the Sphinx disappeared and the logo came up. I went, oh my God, it's Kiss. You know, it brought back the magic that was Kiss in the 70s. And I felt like a 10-year-old kid again at that show. So don't tell me that even Hot in the Shade didn't capture the magic of Kiss. It did for me, like in so many ways. Let's not even discuss the 96 show. Of course it captured the magic. It's the original members back on stage playing the original songs in makeup. It's like you were transported in time, you know? But in a sense, I felt that, you know, I always felt Kiss move forward as the band, but during the 96 reunion, they were just rehashing what they did in the past, trying to recapture that magic, you know? And I felt that they tried, yes, they succeeded, but I didn't feel the magic I felt even in the Hot in the Shade, or obviously when I saw them in Dynasty. It's after the reunion stuff was finished, Eric and Tommy were back in the band. They were just being Kiss, and they started to move forward again, where I started to feel the magic of the band again. And I saw the band close to, 70 times now? And every time I go to the show, I go, oh my God, it's Kiss on stage.
That's right, exactly.
Right.
Don't tell me the magic is not there. It's still there.
That's
you
right.
know?
That's
And almost 50 years
Absolutely.
later, the End of the Road tour, I think it's one of their best tours. What a spectacle of a show. And it's not like you go there and go, okay, like that Saudi was saying, it's another show. I'll just sit here and I don't sit there and just watch. I lose my mind in Detroit Rock City. You know, absolutely. You know, that's magical. And to this Kiss fan, it was never lost on me, ever.
Absolutely.
Well,
For sure.
guys, we talked about this before, and obviously, you know, Kiss, you know, hasn't released much music in the last 24 years, except for Sonic Boom and Monster. Do you feel that Millennium's Kiss is nothing more than a merchandising machine, and the concerts and cruises is nothing more than a commercial for the merchandise? So it's just an excuse to keep, you know, putting up events and selling stuff? Jeb, I'm going to start with you. What do you think?
Why not both? It seems that it's sort of been a bit of both since the 70s. If we're you know, really
That's the
looking at
nature
it
of the band, right?
I mean, it really is the nature of the band. Now, if you ask me, you know, is it nothing more than this or that? It's really just, the good thing about Kiss is that it's so many different things to so many different people. So to me personally, absolutely not. But if you happen to be a collector or something like that, then all this stuff is just an added on bonus. So for me, it's really just that foundation that they laid with the music. That is really what Kiss is to me. And if I want to, you know, invest in something, if I want to buy a piece of Kiss merchandise, it's there. And honestly, I could care less about the motives of the band themselves. If they're, you know, and I don't look at it as this cynical sort of, we're just trying to sell everything in the Kiss cruises and just making money. It might be that, and as long as they're still delivering the goods to the fans, I could really care less, because you know, if I like it, I'll buy it. If I don't like it, I won't. And really, it's about the music, and it's about the live shows, and everything else to me is an added bonus. It's there if you want it. It's not if you don't, and that's a really simple approach that I take with it.
Okay. Xander?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kiss obviously has always been very multifaceted in that way, where, you know, even in the 70s, they were releasing just as much merch as they were music. So I feel like,
More.
yeah. So, I mean, I don't really see it as a black and white sort of, you know, we're just going to release a bunch of merch and make as much money as we can there, and we'll just use everything else as a, you know, kind of a secondary thing. I don't think that's the case at all. I think the decision to not make music has been more of a reaction to the music industry as a whole than opposed to them wanting to make one decision or the other. I think obviously since the industry has changed since the 70s, you know, albums don't sell the way they do. They're not, music isn't obtained the way it used to be. It's a lot different. Plus fans, you know, obviously when we go see Kiss and they say, you know, here's a song, Say Yeah from Sonic Boom, we cheer, we love it, but everybody else, you know. So and they say, okay, well, if that's the case, then why why take 6 to 9 months off the road to record new music when it's not going to make any money back to us, when we could just go out and play 3 shows a week and make $1 million per show. I mean, I think that when you think about it from a business standpoint, it makes much more sense to go play shows and be in front of the people playing as opposed to being locked up in a studio. So I think the concerts have so far been the way that Kiss has stayed relevant, and they get more attention from their shows and what they're doing on tour than they would from a new album, I think. As far as the cruises go, I mean, I've never been, but I know Pasquale, you have. Claudio, I don't know if you have or not, but
Yeah.
I know that the Kiss cruises, to me, even though I haven't been, they seem like more like a reward for Kiss fans. It's like, okay, you guys put us in this position. You got us where we are today. Why don't you literally come to where we are today? We'll all be on this boat and we'll all just hang out and we'll all celebrate Kiss. We can't do the Kiss cruises, but that doesn't mean that, other Kiss fans can't and they don't love it. I think the Kiss cruises aren't really so much as part of the whole vehicle for merchandise as much as it is, rewarding Kiss fans. Here, come on a boat, hang out with us, and we'll give you a bunch of merch. We'll play 2 shows. We'll do electric. We'll do unplugged. We'll do unmasked. We'll do masked. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll do whatever you want. It seems like Kiss has always been, about giving. They love to give to the fans, and as fans, we love to take.
Of course, always. Ask, what about you? What do you think?
No, I don't think they're a merchandising machine per se. I mean, yes, Kiss has always been a brand, and they offer Kiss so much. The music, the concerts, the cruises, the merchandise, anything you want. For me, Kiss has been the one stable thing in my life, my entire life. They are literally the soundtrack to my life. They represent such a huge part of my life and my experiences. And for me, that still continues on today. And I make the choice if I want to buy something or not. If I choose to buy it, I will. If I don't, I don't. And I often choose something that sort of relates to an experience. When I go to a concert, I buy the stuff there. The box set. That was my first album in the 70s. And, I remember living that experience in the 70s. And here I am reliving it again today. Wow. Is that part of the merchandising machine? Okay, it is for sure. But I don't see it, like Jeb was saying, in a cynical point of view. I see it more as thank you for helping me gain that experience again through the merchandising. So I think it's choices that fans make. I don't like hearing, when Kiss comes up with something expensive and fans say, well, it doesn't cater to the everyday Kiss fan. It doesn't. Not everything caters to everybody. Just like we don't like everything that comes out. We pick and choose.
Right.
Paul and Gene just give the fans choices. You choose to buy it or not. You talk with your wallet and walk away if you don't like it.
Bingo.
Very well said.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Claudia?
Bingo. Yeah, well, same here. You guys, you covered it all, and I'm with you all three. It's like that, Kiss has always been about, the merchandising and all of that. Of course, it's the only iconic band in the world, for 50 years. So why not, taking advantage of it in a good sense, if you release products that, you don't want to buy, you don't buy it. If you like it, you go for it. If you like to go on a cruise and meet your friends, you just go. And if you can do it, much better. If not, stay home and watch videos on TV. It's not a problem. There's always something for everybody. But again, during these times, we fall into this cynical, as you guys were saying, we judge everything, as if Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley were, coming from the church, and doing, giving things for free. It was never like that. They created Kiss to make money. So, and they continue to do that. So that's the nature.
Yeah, I agree.
So one final question before we unfortunately end this episode.
We can keep going, man. This is good. This is nice.
I know. Hey, we always can.
I love it, man.
I know. It's fascinating that here we are talking about Kiss from the point of view of 2 different generations. And pretty soon, maybe a year and a half from now, all the generations of Kiss fans are going to come together at that final show. Now, My question to you is, what would you like to see for the final show, Xander?
That's tough.
Oh, yeah.
I've thought about it ever since they were on, what was it, America's Got Talent? Is that what it was? When they announced the end of the road tour on AGT?
Something like that.
He called it. He said, "I bet they're gonna," because they were gonna do a special announcement. He goes, "I bet they're gonna announce the end of the road tour," and I'm like, "No, they're not." And they ended up announcing it. And so ever since then, I've been thinking about what the last show would be, but I really don't know because there's almost too much pressure behind it. Where it's like, how do you have, are Ace and Pete are going to be involved? If they are they going to be in makeup and outfits?
Yeah.
Are they not? Are they going to be there for half the set? A couple songs. How much can they realistically play? Is Bruce going to be involved? Is he going to come out with them unmasked and have Eric and Gene and Paul in makeup and do a revenge thing? By the end, will you have Vinny? I mean, it's too crazy to think about. But because I always imagined it being like the Dubai show, where you have this huge stage, you have this $1 million pyro show at the end, you break world records. I always imagined that the last show would be something like that. But I guess they'll have to top that if they're going to try and outdo themselves. But I guess if I were just to come up with something in the moment and try and throw something out there, I wonder if they could try and do something like maybe like they did on Kiss Alive 4 with the 3-act structure, where in the symphony they came out just as Kiss, and then they came out with the smaller ensemble, and by the end it was the full thing. Well, maybe for the last show they come out as Kiss, Gene, Paul, Eric, and Tommy, and then they have a few songs with Bruce, and then they do a originals reunion with Peter and Ace, and then by the end of it for Rock and Roll Night you have Bruce, Vinny, Eric, Tommy, Peter, and Ace. Who knows? I mean, I almost don't even want to think about it too much, because it's one of those things where you get your expectations too out of control, and then whatever you get, you're like, oh, well, that didn't match my fantasy. So I would expect to see, Kiss come out in makeup, blow stuff up, play the best songs I've ever heard, and end their amazing career on a high note.
Cool. Jeb?
Yeah, I think my expectations and my standards might be even lower than most people's, because really I have no illusions of Peter and Ace coming out in makeup and doing something huge like that. And I really, all that I can ask for is that they do pretty much what they're already doing now, going out with, as the band is now, Gene, Paul, Tommy, and Eric sticking to their guns, sticking with the the kids that they are now, and just giving the best show that they've ever given. I don't really need or even expect Vinny to come out and Peter and Ace and do all this. Really, all I want is for just you mentioned the Dubai. I think that would have made a fitting sort of context there. Just a huge Kiss show. I don't really need this and that. I don't want any drama to be caused by this. It's like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We got the original 4 members in the same room, and they couldn't pull it off. And so for me, I almost don't even want to put that pressure on the band. I'm just saying, give me Kiss as you are now, and as you've been, as I know you. Mm-hmm. I know that doesn't sound selfish, but really that just makes the most sense to me. It seems like the easiest, most practical thing to do. Yeah. And I think it would mean a lot to our generation's, fans to say, you know what, no, we're sticking with Tommy and Eric. This is Kiss,
Yeah.
That would be nice for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Claudia, what do you think?
Well, this is a tough one. And all I can say is Kiss has always been about fun. And this, there's been so much talk about, for the last show, Peter, Ace, Vinny, Bruce, makeup, no makeup. It's becoming too complicated, man. And that's not what Kiss is all about. I don't want this whole thing to ruin, our enjoyment and our fun of living, that show to the maximum. So I really, of course, it would be nice to have at least, the last couple of songs with Peter and Ace and Bruce. I don't care too much about Vinny, as much as I love him, I don't think that's feasible, because of there's so much blood, bad blood with him. But I don't care if there's 2 spacemen or 1 spaceman and the other without the makeup. I don't really care, as long as I see them on stage and they play the tunes, to the best of their capabilities. and they, bombastic, and they finish, they finish history with Rock and Roll All Night. Everybody, with the people, with us, with the fans. That's all. So then all the other stuff, coming with different shows and different lineups, too complicated, my friend, too complicated.
I had a pretty complicated answer to this question in terms of my fantasy show, which would be basically in 3 parts, right? The Bruce Kulick Band opens up, the Ace Frehley Band opens up with Peter Criss as a guest drummer, and then Kiss. Forget all that. Claudio, like you're saying, it's too complicated, right? Jeb, you are an old soul because you and I think alike. And I think my expectations are even lower than yours. I don't,
Right on.
I don't care. I just want to see Kiss one last time. To
That's
be
right.
in the same room or venue with Kiss, it would be the ultimate for me. And I am going to cry like a baby. And I don't need Ace and Peter there and all the, I just one last time with this band that have been a part of my life for my entire life. What is better than that? Nothing. In my opinion, nothing.
I completely agree. Everyone will be crying in the audience. That's going to be a wild scene,
I was going to say, I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to ask you guys, seriously, do you guys plan on actually trying to go to that last show? Do you think it's even possible to get tickets?
Well, we'll do our best. We'll try.
I heard talk on the FAQ podcast that it's going to be a show for the elite. If you've got the money, I kind of agree with them. I'm hoping it's not going to be like that, but I am going to pay whatever it takes. I'm going to sell my soul to the devil to be at that show. I have to be at that show.
Yeah, I could see it. I think when tickets go on sale, it's like the website's going to crash, or it's going to be bought by a bunch of scalpers, or the tickets are going to go skyrocketing. I mean, it's going to be really tough to get to that last show.
We'll try to as well. We'll all try and meet up together.
Let's all 4 try to do it, and then we'll do
There you go.
Well,
we'll do a podcast or something right before.
Yeah, like Iron Maiden, they're selling tickets, virtual tickets, and they're not actually available till just before the show. So you can't even sell tickets in advance or anything. It's very last minute. So Kiss is have to figure something out where
they're gonna have to come up with a game plan for sure.
Oh yeah. They just can't sell tickets like they used to. It has to be something a lot more complex here.
Okay, guys. So no. I think now it's. I was still thinking of the last question, and it's not about being in favor of Gene and Paul and against Ace and Peter, but fans, they always try to trash Gene and Paul because of the money, that they do everything for the money. But I'm interested to see what is it gonna take to have Ace and Peter playing in the last show. Are they gonna play for free? I don't think so. I don't think so. So they're gonna sit down with those guys with the same mentality of making money. So and then they're gonna put their conditions about the makeup, about how much money. So what about us? I thought it was all about the fans. Well, no, I guess it's not. There's money involved, man. So that's why I think it's complicated. That's why. Well, let's try to wrap up this episode, with a final comment from each one of you guys. So, Xander, what would you like to say to the younger members of the Kiss Army out there?
The younger member, okay. Check out Kiss Army Things.
There you go.
Subscribe to Kiss Army Things. Follow us on Instagram. Continue watching the Kiss Army Nation podcast. So for younger fans, I would say, don't be afraid to jump in on the conversation. There's always going to be somebody out there who's, they've spent more money than you. They've seen more shows than you. They have more stuff than you. It's sometimes Kiss fans try and make it a competition. And if you're a younger fan, you're going to lose. So it's not about any of that. It's about the love for the band. It's about the music, the greatest music, the best show, the best band, the members of the band. It's about the memories and the experiences. And it's so much more than just, how much money you can spend. And I know some Kiss fans try and, we're kind of abrasive and obnoxious sometimes. And so I would say to the younger fans, just be yourself, be a Kiss fan. I'm glad you're a Kiss fan. Check out our podcast and join in on the fun, because it's up to us to keep it going.
That's it. Well said. Jeff, what about you?
Yeah, I would say I hope you can find community in places like this. I mean, you guys seem to be very open to speaking to younger fans and sort of validating our opinions. And I hope that people younger than us can find that and people like us. So, and I would say if you're a Kiss fan, just establish what you like about the band and leave the rest behind. I wouldn't get into any of the drama, about past members, about reunions, about this, that, and the other. Just if you like the music,
That's what
run with
matters.
it. If you like a T-shirt and you like one album, that's good enough. You don't need, there's not a set list of criteria to be a Kiss fan. If you can like any part of Kiss and be just as valid, as me or anyone else, I think.
Yeah.
And so I'd want them to feel somewhat validated.
I think that the minute you draw the line, because of, how long you've been listening to the band or how many shows you've seen, that's crap. And so that doesn't make any sense. That's not what Kiss is all about. So the minute you do that, you're lost. So you better go and listen to another band. So, it's the same. It doesn't matter, if you've seen the bands, 60 times, if you just jumped on it, to listen to Kiss, it's the same. For us, it's the same. And we always, with past, and we always try to keep positive, which is really tough these days. There's a lot of drama there with everything and more with Kiss. But being positive and enjoy, and have fun. That's what it is.
And on that note, guys, again, thank you so much for being on the show. Really, really appreciate it. And for me, I really enjoy these fan profiles. Just listening to other people talking about their experiences with the band is such a high for me. And the fans just enjoy those profiles because they see so much of themselves in it. And like Claudio said, as long as this is fun, we're going to continue doing it. And I hope you guys do as well.
Absolutely.
We will, yes.
And we'll have to have you guys on our podcast too.
That would be an honor.
Anytime.
Yeah,
for sure,
anytime.
for sure.
Guys, I'm going to second pass on this. So thank you so much, for being part of the show, taking part of your time and your busy schedule. So it's been a real pleasure. And I hope we're going to have more rounds of discussion, whether if it's in your podcast, in our podcast, it's the same, it's a podcast for Kiss fans. And we're really glad that what you put together, the format is great and that the content is awesome. And keep being, the guys you are. That's the best thing that you can do.
Thank you,
so
Claudio.
much. Thank you.
Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
And to the Kiss Army, thank you very much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And remember, never stop rocking. Take care, everyone. The Kiss Army Nation podcast has partnered up with Click T-Shop to offer our listeners a high-quality T-shirt with graphic design by Zander Graphics. Check out Click T-Shop at clickteeshop.com.